Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I am Basit Ismail from Department of Computer Science, Allama Iqbal Open University. Today, I'm going to teach you about the Unit 7 in your CS5305 information and application of information and communication technologies. The basic unit is information and communication security. Here we are going to learn about different topics such as threats to users, different types of security issues, what type of protections can you take for these type of issues. So let's move toward the first topic. The first topic is the basic definition of information and communication security. Information security is securing the basic data that is present on your computer. And when you are trying to secure the data, you take certain steps, and those steps are usually termed as taking precautions, taking measures for information security. Similarly, related to this is communication security. Communication security is basically securing the communication between two computers, from one computer to another computer, from one computer to on the internet, or from one person to another person. This might be security related to emails, might be related to security related to normal social websites that you use or social applications that you use. And it basically ensures that the information that you are sending to a particular person or organization is secure, and it is not used by a malicious actor or someone. So basic security concepts, and there are a couple of security concepts that you need to understand related to basic security of your computer. So first of all, what is the first subtopic? The first subtopic is threats. Threats is anything that can hamper the performance of your computer. It might be a virus, it might be a Trojan horse, it might be a malware. These different types of threats, you may call them, are different types of smaller softwares, maybe scripts that are affecting the performance of your computer on the internet, or when you are trying to communicate over the internet. So countermeasures, the countermeasures are the steps that you can take when you are trying to secure your computer, and when you are trying to make sure that the information which is present on your computer is not used by a person who is not authorized to use that information, by a person who is a malicious actor, or an undesirable person. So closely related is the degree of harm. Every threat that a computer might face does not present a higher level of threat or a lower level of threat. There is a spectrum on which different threats provide harm to your computer. For example, a threat might be rather it might be very highly malicious, or it can be rather harmless. So those threats that are rather harmless, we do not usually take too many precautions against them. There might be just copying of a file to one of your hard disks, or generating a message on your WhatsApp or Facebook app or Messenger app, whatever you are using, or Skype. And however, the other type of security breaches, the higher level of security breaches, might impact the performance of your computer. So we take a lot of precautions, setting up firewalls, installing malware detection softwares, antiviruses like Avira, AVG. We do that so that your computer is protected. So the first thing related to the degree of harm is how much of a threat a particular thing is to a user. So the subtopic is threats to users. So on the internet, a person might be impacted by identity theft. What is identity theft? Identity theft is the usage of your personal information, or the information related to a particular person, by another person or by another actor for their own benefits, for their own malicious use. For example, you have a Scineces in Pakistan, and you have an identity card number in abroad. So if a person uses your Scineces to commit a crime, or Scineces to get to register a complaint which you didn't complain about, then that person is in essence using your identity to cause harm to you. So if the authorities trace that Scineces number or whatever, they will reach you even though you are not the person who has committed the crime. So that is a basic definition of identity theft, and I have also given you the example. It also means that you are basically trying to impact the social relationship of a particular person. For example, you are trying to pose as someone else whom you are not. So another threat that is related to users is loss of privacy. The loss of privacy means that if a person has information related to your computer or your email address and the password, then they can easily uh, use your resources, use your email, use your personal information, and maybe send it to another actor who might breach your online bank accounts or something. So that is another type of threat that a user might face when they are using an internet, when they are using computer, especially online. So there is another threat that might arise sometimes, which is called cookies. Sometimes these cookies are harmless. Usually, what a cookie does is that it stores information of a particular website that you have visited at a particular time on your computer for fast reloading of that website when you visit it again. For example, you visit a certain website at on Monday. The website will download some scripts, some information that is present on that website to your local computer. So if you visit that website again on Tuesday or any other day, the website will load faster because it has already downloaded that particular information. This information usually is called cookies. However, even though most of the times it is harmless, but it is also possible that the cookies might themselves contain some type of a virus or some type of a Trojan horse that might impact the performance of your computer. It might even hack your resources, run a simulation without you agreeing to it. So there are many things that can happen when you are allowing all of the cookies to be downloaded on your local computer. There is another thing that we have to discuss, which is spyware. Spyware are those softwares that try to spy on the information that is present on your local computer. For example, you have stored a certain type of personal information, family information, or even your credentials for particular websites, for particular resources, online resources that we use. Even you might even store your ATM PIN codes and information related to your monetary accounts. So a person can use a particular software called spyware software to get that information from your computer. The next threat to users is web bugs. Web bugs are those softwares, you can say small scripts that are downloaded, that are present on the websites when you visit the websites. And these web bugs usually impact the performance of your internet. For example, they might try to download a script on your local computer and try to hamper the resources of your computer. Here's another concept that you might have come across. Sometimes you use a website and it loads faster the first time, and the next time onward you can't use that website really well. So what has happened is that these web bugs have blocked the cookies for that particular website. So web bugs is another threat that a user might encounter when they are trying to uh, browse the internet, or when they are trying to use the internet. There is another thing called spam. Spam is the next subtopic. Spam is those unsolicited emails. Unsolicitation means that you have not agreed to that particular information communication. So unsolicited emails are those emails that you get from a person that you do not know anything about, and they are just spamming your inbox with emails. The spam emails sometimes contain Trojan horses. They might even contain viruses. Sometimes they are just advertisement emails. So as same as the case of cookies, spam emails can be harmless, just rather harmless information, or it might even contain computer breaking Trojan horse within it. The next thing that is important, the next main topic in our unit is threat to hardware. So there are multiple types of threats to hardware. We are going to look at them one by one. The first type of threat that can impact your computer is power related threats. Power related, for example, and usually these devices use electricity. So if there is no backup for the electricity for your computer, then the information stored on the particular computer might be deleted, might get it might be impacted, it might be corrupted. So what can you do? There are certain countermeasures that you can take. You can have a backup for your computer. You might even use a laptop which has a built-in battery, so that even if the power goes off, then your computer and the working of your computer continues on. Theft and vandalism. So this is really easier to understand. If you sometimes you have to secure your hardware by just placing them in a secure location, or secure compartment, because it is also impacted by theft. A person might just try to steal your computer and then try to access the information which is present on the computer. So there is another thing, natural disasters. Sometimes natural disasters like heavy rain or water might even impact in the devices of the computer. You have to make sure that the inner devices like the RAM, the hard disk, do not come into contact with the water or any other type of fluid. Sometimes which happens is that the temperature is high, so what happens is that the computer is not able to cool off related to that particular heat or that high temperature. So what happens is that your computer is also impacted. It might also not work properly. It might even not work at all. So you have to take precautions against that as well. The next thing is threats to data. So we are going to look at the topics related to threats to data. The first most serious threat that a person who is using a computer might face is that their data which is present on the computer is stolen. It is corrupted. It is impacted by different, maybe even viruses, malwares, spywares, bytewares, different type of wares. These are just softwares that try to steal the information, that impact the corruption, that impact the integrity of the data. So this is another type of a threat that a person who is using the computer might face. Data is intelligible, means you cannot touch the data. It is not touchable. It is stored in the form of bits and bytes. So if it becomes corrupted, there is no real way of securing it. There is some softwares. There are some softwares. There are some techniques which might recover your data, some part of your data, but it might not be whole. So you have to make sure that you have stored you have installed different type of viruses, antiviruses, Malwarebytes or Avira or AVG or Windows Defender, to make sure that the corruption of the data does not occur. So the next type of threat that a user might face are viruses. The viruses we have already discussed, but I'm going to go over them again. The viruses are special type of scripts and special type of small softwares that might be downloaded from the computer, or a user might send them to your email, or a user might send them directly to your computer, and they impact the performance of your computer. They sometimes override the system files, corrupt the system files. You are not able to use the computer, you are not able to use the Windows. Sometimes they just are trying to look for sensitive information related to your person or your family. Sometimes they are just trying to hamper the resources of the computer. For example, they are trying to use the computer's resources. Trojan horses are those small programs that pose as beneficial softwares. For example, they might be a Trojan horse might pose as a Windows Media Player. A Trojan horse might pose as a VLC player. So these are those players which help you in using the different type of media for running audio or for running video. But in itself, it is a Trojan. So what would it do when you run that particular program? It will show you the screen of that particular media player, but it will try to collect the information which is present on your computer. What can you use against them? The countermeasures for these Trojan horses, for these viruses, what can you use? You use different type of antiviruses softwares. You use firewalls. You sometimes the firewalls come with the Windows that you have installed, and sometimes these firewalls you have to install them by downloading them from the internet or by purchasing them. Some common type of firewalls that I will suggest is the Bitdefender. firewall. You might download the Bitdefender firewall and it will secure your computer. You might even use the Windows Defender firewall, which is installed on the new computers and the new laptops with the Windows, especially with the Windows 11. Okay, so there are the two types of threats to data, and these are internet fraud and cybercrime. So internet fraud is basically a type of cybercrime. Cybercrimes are those crimes that are committed using computers, using internet. So all of those crimes that are committed using computers or internet are called cybercrime. Internet fraud is a particular type of cybercrime wherein you get account information from a particular person and then use that account information to draw or to coerce them to giving you the money. So what you are trying to do is getting some type of monetary resources. Maybe it might even be cash, it might even be bitcoins, but you are trying to get information. You are leveraging information to get money from a particular person. So that is one type of cybercrime. There are other type of cybercrime. The identity theft is also related to cybercrime. For example, a person might hijack your email and might try to use your email for sending information, for sending some malicious information, or for communicating with another actor. The next type of threat to data is distributed denial of service. It is more related to the usage of websites when a person browses the internet. For example, you want to browse a particular website, but a malicious actor or a person who with ill intentions has already sent a lot of information to that particular website. So the website is not able to give you the information. The website will not load in that particular case. So what is happening? The phenomena that is happening is that a normal user is trying to access the website, but a bot or a malicious actor has already sent too much information, overloaded the capacity of the website servers to provide information to the users. So the users think that the website is not online or it is not working, even though what is happening really is that the website has been overloaded and the workstation of the website is not able to provide the information to the normal harmless user. So how can you avoid identity theft? You can avoid identity theft by just securing the information, securing the papers that you have on which you have written that particular information. For example, if you write your credentials on papers, then just secure them in a locker or somewhere secure. If you store your information on the computer, then use higher difficulty level passwords on those files so that another person is not easily able to crack the password and get your information. Guarding your personal information, it is also related to guarding the data. So if you are using different type of encryption for securing your information, that is another way to secure personal information. Use encrypting softwares, use different type of ciphers to secure your digital information. You might even use lockers from different type of antivirus softwares. The antivirus softwares comes with different type of lockers. You can use them and then your data is more secure. Only you will know the pin code or the OTP to that particular locker. So if the person does not know that OTP or that particular pin, then they are not able to access the information. You might even use biometric identification confirmation processes. For example, you might even use your fingerprint to open your computer, might even use your eye, might even use your facial recognition software. So these are a number of ways in which you can store, in which you can secure your personal and private information. There is another technique which you can use. If you are careful about securing your monetary information, if you are concerned about that, what you can do is that you take the transfer accounts, the bank history, the transfer history from your bank yearly. Yearly is not recommended. You should take it semi-yearly or after 6 months. What you are trying to do is trying to look for any irrelevant information which a person has collected, or any irregularity in the transfers or in the monetary transfers, crediting or debiting that has occurred, and then report it if something malicious has occurred. So the other thing is protecting your privacy. So what comes in protecting your privacy? Let's have a look at that. So what you can do is keep the marketers at bay. For example, if you get an email, a wonderful email on some sort of 20%, like the email contains the contents that there is a 20% off on a particular device, then you do not click on the link on the click on that particular email or click on that particular website link, because it might try to get information from your computer and try to send it to another marketer or an advertisement agency. It can also, what can also be done is that you are basically trying to, you go on over the internet, you put your information, but you put your information in a secure way. If you only visit those websites that are secure, that you know to be secure, and you also make that they are more secure by using firewalls and different type of identity securing softwares. The next thing is managing spyware and cookies, or managing cookies and spyware. So what you can do is related to managing of cookies and spyware is that when you go over a website, you check if the website is secure. If it is flagged, if it has been flagged ever, then you make sure that you do not accept all of the cookies that are downloaded from that particular website. You can even use tunneling or VPN to secure your software. You might even use a different type of private accounts or spam accounts to secure your online information. For example, when you go on a particular website, before going on the particular website, you use a particular secure online browser, for example, like Brave or Opera GX. These are modern browsers that have inbuilt security features in them. So when you use these particular type of browsers, then they limit the cookies that can be stored on your local hardware. So they will help with this management of cookies and management of spyware. So the other thing is that cookies types. So there are different types of cookies, as I have already discussed. There are harmless cookies, which even if you store them on your local computer, they do not impact the performance of the computer. But there are also harmful cookies which try to steal the information from your local computer. So removing web bugs and spywares, I have already discussed and already delineated upon this particular thing. You have to keep your antiviruses up to date. You have to make sure that your firewalls are secure. You have to use tunneling software. You might even use a VPN to make sure that your IP cannot be traced. There are many different techniques which you might use to secure your information, to secure your computer. Usually the softwares that come with a particular Windows are very good at securing your local and online information. For example, the Windows Defender has built-in antivirus, built-in malware detection software, spyware detection software. But if you are particularly concerned, then you can even use software such as Malwarebytes to secure your information against malwares, and then use Bitdefender firewall to secure information using the firewall. Avoiding spam. The next thing is avoiding spam. Avoiding spam means that you do not get unsolicited emails from malicious actors or from actors with ill intentions. So what you can do is you hide your ISP, you hide your IP using tunneling, you hide your IP, you use mail filters. For example, you use filters that I do not want to receive mail originating outside a particular region. For example, if you are in Pakistan, you use mail filtering software that I do not want to get emails from China, or I do not want to get emails from India. That will also make sure that your computer is secured, your online information is secured, your email is secured, and you do not get spams from different regions. The next thing is protecting your system. What you can do against viruses and worms. There are different techniques to protect against viruses and worms. The first thing is, do not visit those websites that you do not really have any useful information to be shared on the particular website. For example, if your main work is related to digital content management, then use only resources which are secure, which different people have already used before you. And if you like browsing on the internet or getting information unrelated, then what you can do is maybe even try to purchase licensed software, licensed antivirus softwares to make sure that your computer is secure and your internet information communication is secured. What you can also do is keep your operating system up to date, meaning that usually the operating system, what happens is that operating system after a while does not is breached. People are actively trying to hack the operating system, trying to breach the operating system. So what the makers or the programmers of the operating system do is that they keep on releasing different versions of the operating system. So what you can do as a user, you can make sure that you have kept your operating system up to date. If there is a major security update for your operating system, you download that, and then you make sure that your operating system does not have any breach or hole where which can be exploited. Okay, so what you can also do is use a firewall, like I have already suggested a couple of times before in this lecture. But you can use a firewall. You might even depend upon the firewall which is already installed in your computer, but you can also download more secure or purchase a highly licensed firewall to secure the information which is present on your computer. So there is another thing which can be done. You can limit the physical access which you have provided to people on your computer. For example, you might limit the number of users who have credentials for accessing your computer. This might also secure the information and the data which is present on the computer. So what you can do is this usually requires a certain type of password, certain type of OTP, or certain type of PIN. What you can use, if you are using text-based password, you can combine alphanumeric keys with the digits, or if you or might even try to make the password bilingual, for example combining some words of English with some words of Urdu, and then using a semicolon or some sort of alphanumeric digit. That will also make sure that the physical access to your computer is limited. The next thing is that you backup often. Backup often means that you copy all of the information that is present on your computer and make a copy out of it, and you make multiple copies. What is suggested is that you make multiple copies of your computer. Usually this process used to be cumbersome. By cumbersome, I means that you had to do it manually, you had to copy everything manually, and then you had to make sure that you have enough storage and to keep both of the copies or all of the copies. So what has happened in newer versions of Windows is that you can make a save point, or you can make a secure point. What happens is that when you go to the secure point, save point, and checkpoint, the computer has already stored that information in a particular type of an image. So actively that image is not taking any storage space on your computer, but when you use that checkpoint, that storage space is used, and then your computer goes back to that previous time. So if for example an attack occurs on Monday, and you have make sure that there was a checkpoint on Friday. If the attack occurred on Monday and then you use the checkmark of Friday, then your computer will behave as if the attack never occurred. So that is another way of securing your computer. That is another way of protecting your data. The next thing is handling storage media. What I mean by handling storage media is that how do you use different type of USBs, floppy disks, DVD, and CDs, or even other storage media. What happens is that you should make sure that all of these storage devices do not come into contact with any type of liquid, because these are really corrupted. The data present on these is corrupted by if such a device comes into contact with a liquid. So you can also try to avoid magnetism or using magnets near these devices, because these are electrical storage devices. So what happens is that when a magnet comes into close proximity with these devices, that the data present on these devices is corrupted. You can also try to make sure that the temperature where your computer and these peripheral devices are present and do not come into very high or very low temperatures, because heat at higher temperatures and cold at very low temperatures impacts the devices, impacts the electricity, or impacts the electrical components of these devices, and the data on these devices becomes corrupted. And another thing which I have already mentioned, and I will reiterate it, that you make sure that these devices do not come into contact with any type of moisture, whether it is water or another type of liquid or any type of liquid. You make sure that these devices do not come into contact with them. There is another thing that you have to make sure that these devices are clean. There is no dust or dirt on them. You make sure that the all of the devices are cleaned regularly from time to time. Most of the devices, usually you need a coolant these days. For example, if you have a computer and it has a particular GPU installed, so what will happen is that after 3 or 4 months you will need to replace that coolant, because the working of the GPU and the working of that laptop or the computer is dependent upon that particular coolant. If that coolant runs out, what will happen is that your computer will overheat and it will not be able to process the information. It will not be able to process the data which you are trying to get processed from it. And there is another thing: if you do not clean them, then the dust and the dirt might impact the working and the usage of that particular device. The next thing and the last thing, but not the least thing, is the cleaning of computers. You have to make sure you clean your computers regularly. You make sure that the devices are in perfect order. What happens over time is that the dust clogs the different buses or different connections which are present on the computer, and then the impact occurs. The impact of this happenstance occurs, and what happens is that the computer is not able to work properly. That is it for today. Today we have learned the unit 7 of your application and communication technologies subject. The basic topic was information and communication security, in which we have learned about threats to data, threats to users, threats to hardware, viruses, different types of countermeasures that we can take to secure the information. We have also learned different techniques for securing information, private information of a particular person over the internet. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.